Hi, I'm Aiden Zimmerman. I'm 16 years old. I'm going to be a junior in high school, and I am homeschooled. Today I'm going to be talking about a time in my life when I had a problem with God based off of pain in my life. I remember growing up and knowing that my father had chronic kidney disease, but I didn't really understand it, and it wasn't really a problem for me because my dad was always so positive about it, and he always had such a good outlook on it that, like, this is God's plan and that this is just what he's doing. And so I remember it not being something that affected me, and I remember going through public school, and it didn't really matter to me. And then about 2 years ago, his health really started to fail, and it got really scary. And I remember being on vacation, and there were mornings when he couldn't get out of bed. And I remember it being something where Mom was like, he's gonna have to start dialysis. And dialysis is basically where he goes in 3 days a week for 4 hours, and he gets hooked up to a machine that, like, cleans out his blood because, you know, kidneys can't. Well, he's got one kidney. And so I remember this being a very difficult time for me, and I remember it was something I was very scared of. It wasn't something I was used to, and it was something that I remember, like, being so scary for my mom, and she was very emotional about it because, you know, 3 days out of the week she's not going to see her husband until like 9 p.m. And I remember when he started, I went and saw him once, and that freaked me out because I saw the effort that it had to take to keep him alive, to keep him going. And I remember that scared me, and I was like, okay, God, what are you doing? Like, why does this need to be a thing? Why does my dad have to go through this? Why does my dad have to go through this pain? And I remember just thinking, why would a God who loves us so much allow us to go through so much? And it was just a very, very scary time for me. Which sounds selfish because my dad's the one who's getting hooked up to a machine 3 days a week. But he was always so positive, and he was always just, as a father, you never want your children to see you in pain, but it was painful to see him in pain, and that became a pain on us as a family to see him go through that. But going through it, I've seen, like, my dad's had so many surgeries in his life. He's had this since he was a little boy, and we've never once had a surgery go wrong. Ever. He's had multiple surgeries, and it's never gone wrong. He goes to dialysis, and he has this amazing dialysis center with dialysis techs that he loves, and he has a great time, and they think he's hilarious because he's Jeff Zimmerman. I mean, come on. And God has just been so good to our family that he's okay and that he's doing better. And the question of, God, why aren't you just giving him a transplant, is something that I've learned to be like, that's God's timing. My dad went so long without needing dialysis, and that was honestly a miracle from God because that doesn't usually happen with people with chronic kidney disease. So that's pretty much my testimony, and that's how God showed me that he shows the light when there's so much darkness, and there's so much good in God, even when it seems like God's not listening, or God's not there, or God doesn't care. He was always there, and he was always with my dad, and he's always with my family, and it's shown me, like, my dad is a good dad. He's awesome. I mean, he never once, like, he was never angry at God about it. I never remember him being angry at God about it, which was just, that blows my mind, because I freak out over the littlest. I got a cut at work once and flipped out. Like, and he never did that. And so God's shown me that, like, my dad has always trusted in the Lord, and God is always faithful, and he's always good. So yeah, that's my story of pain.